Hello everyone, I am Edwin Reed-Sanchez and I'm going to be your STEP instructor for AP Computer Science Principles class. Today we are going to be building the game of Pong. Yes, you heard it right. That 1976, 1969, I don't know when it was built, but it's a long time ago. Yes, we are going to make Pong, the video game. We're going to do it with Snap, which you guys have already started working with and probably have mastered, or maybe not. And that's why I'm here to teach you a little bit more. So, in the Computer Science Principles AP test, there's different sections. And today we're going to be talking about creative development, which is about 10 to 13% of the total test. You'll learn how it's important to have a collaborative process when developing programs like Pong. And it's also important to understand that it's an iterative process. What does iterative mean? Well, you don't have to do it all at once. You see, you create the program feature by feature, testing it out and improving or changing the program. Even the first Pong hardware had different varieties. There was tennis version, a soccer version, and a handball version where you were bouncing the Pong off the wall. Okay, guys, so let's get started. So here is the Snap desktop. So what I like to do is I like to actually do new project to make sure I have a new project. So I will say replace with the current one, of course. And then I also like to save right away. This allows me to make sure that I have a name. So for this project, I'm going to call it Edwin dash Pong dash V1. Let me fix that. For yours, you can actually use your own name, dash Pong dash V1. The V1, of course, is for version 1. The version is part of the iterative process of making a game. As you continue with this project, you'll have version 2, version 3, version 4, and that's going to have additional features or additional updates after you test out and try your program. So let's save it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create a ball sprite and a paddle sprite. To do that, here in this section, you can see that there are sprites, right? So here's the sprite that we already have, this guy. We can move him around. But we want to create a new one. So paint new sprite. Okay, we click on it. For the ball, you can either use a filled ellipse or an empty ellipse, or stroked ellipse. Filled ellipse or stroked ellipse. I'm going to use a fill. I'm going to keep mine pretty simple, black and white style. So just make a little ball. Oh. Little ball like that. Press OK. And there is our ball sprite. Our other sprite, let's move it out the way. And actually, we're just going to delete it. We don't need that guy anymore. My ball's a little weird, but it does not matter too much. As long as your ball is round, you could also change the color if you wanted to. Here, I'm going to make another new sprite, and this is going to be my paddle. I'm going to use the filled rectangle. I'm going to make it kind of easy for myself and make it this size. This looks good to me. Okay. You know what? Changed my mind. That's a little too big. So let me make another one. Here it is. It's got to be at least a little bit challenging. All right. So here we got this sprite. This bigger sprite, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to delete it. Right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set our paddle in place. I like it there. And then we're going to script our paddle. As you can see, there is this little tab here called scripts. This is where we're going to program this paddle. Each sprite has its own scripting area. So here is where we're going to script this. We would do a script for the Pong. Here is a script for the paddle. So we're going to start with the paddle. The first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to have to go to these control section. There are several sections here: motion, control, looks, sensing, sound, operators, pen, and variables. For now, we're going to start with the controls because we want to be able to control with our keyboard up and down of this paddle. So we're going to click, we're going to get this I like to call it a hat. These are usually um, the scripting modules that allow you to start something. So it looks like a hat, and then and we're going to change this to up arrow key is pressed, and we're going to bring another one in for the down arrow, right? Because we want to be able to control the paddle going up and down. So we'll start with the up arrow. When the up arrow key is pressed, we want something to happen, which is motion. So we have several options for motion here, right? And we want to move it up. So one of the things that we have to remember is that this is a computer and it's working with X and Y values. To make you understand this a little bit better, I'm actually going to go into this sensing and I'm going to click on this mouse X and mouse Y. And here you will see these numbers and they represent the point where your mouse is. So all the way to the right here, right? The X value is 227. If I go closer to the middle, it should go close to 0 because 0 is going to be actually right in the middle, right? If I go to the left, it's going to be a negative value. So we got mouse X negative 100 until you get to negative 234. So this going right to left is the X value. Going up and down is the Y value. So as I go up, you see your Y is going up. And as I go down, the Y value or the mouse Y goes down. These are good to help you troubleshoot because we need to know where the position of things are. So for the paddle, we want it to go, we want the paddle, so we go back to motion, we want the paddle to move the Y value. So we're going to pull out this change Y by 10 for up, right? And we'll do change Y by negative 10 for going down. So let's take a look at that, right? When up arrow key press, we'll change the Y value by 10, which means it'll go up. When the down arrow key pressed, we'll change the Y value by negative 10, which will go down. Test it out. I'm just using the keys. Oh, it works great, except I fall off the screen. Don't worry, you can bring them back. But let's not have them fall off the screen. There is something for that. It is if on edge bounce. So we'll put this if on edge bounce on both of them. And that way, when we go all the way up, it just stays there. It doesn't go off the screen. This is a very nifty little trick. So now we have the controls for the paddle. There's another thing that we're going to want to do. You see, when the game starts, and we're going to use this green flag as starting the game, when the game starts, what we want it to do is we're going to want to have it right here, right? So what we're going to want to know is the X value, right? Where is the X and where is the Y? Obviously, the Y will be 0, or the X will be 0. Sorry, the Y would be 0. We want it to start in the middle. So we'll go to the controls. When green flag is clicked, we're going to go to motion, and we're going to set the X to 0. And so if we press the green flag, oh, that's not what I meant to do. Ha, even the best of us can't sometimes mess up. We're going to set the Y to 0 so that it centers right on the edge. So let's press the green. Ah, there it goes, right? But we also do want to set the X to make sure it's all the way at the edge here. And that's about 230. So we're going to go set X to 230. 230. And those are pixels, by the way. So now when we press it, oh, there, it just sets right in place. Even if I move it manually and we press the green flag, right in place. So just to recap, when green flag is clicked, we're setting the Y of the paddle to 0. We're setting the X of the paddle to 230. And we know that because we're here with our mouse Okay, this is about 230. I see mouse X, mouse Y says, or mouse X says 230. 233, but 230. It's fine. If you want to get rid of these, you go back to the sensing, right? And you unclick them and they disappear. This is a good place that we have, right? So what we should do, being responsible programmers, let's be sure to do a save. Saved, great. I can breathe again. Okay, so now that we've done the paddle, now we're gonna do the Pong. Here, we do the when green flag is clicked, so this the game starts. We wanna first set this Pong or ball to the center. To do that, we're gonna use this motion and we're gonna go to X0 and Y0. This is gonna set it to go to the center. So if I press the green flag, it automatically goes to the center. Go to X0, Y0. After that, we're gonna wanna point it into a direction, right? So we do point in direction. And there's a couple things we could do. We could either manually set the direction, right? So if I do this, it will set the direction in one area. We'll leave it like that for now. And then after that, we're gonna wanna do something called a forever loop. Now what a forever loop does, and it is in control, I believe. Yes, it is here, forever, right? What this says to the computer is that you're going to repeat whatever is inside of here over and over and over and over. That's why it's called a forever loop. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this. We're going to create motion. We're going to do move 10 steps and if on edge bounce. So let's take a look at what happens here. So first things first, we set X to 0, Y to 0, goes to the center. We're going to point in a specific direction. This looks about good, 315. And then forever, we're going to move 10 steps and if on edge bounce. Let's just take a look. Let me move this out the way. Take a look at what happens. Oh, look at that. Now, anytime it goes on the edge, it bounces. Wow, that's truly amazing. Okay, let's pause it. It's kind of fast. So what should we do in order to slow it down? Okay, I'll just tell you. Here, you set the move to 5. That's going to be half the speed. You see? Perfect. All right, so we have the thing bouncing back and forth. So let's see what happens. Oh, it just goes right through the paddle. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that when it hits the paddle, which I can't even get it, that it actually bounces off the paddle. So in order to do that within our forever loop, because we want to make sure that this is part of the forever, everything that's going on over and over again, we're going to do a if statement. So basically, if this Pong hits the paddle or touches the paddle, we want to turn the ball 180 degrees or the opposite of whatever it is. So we're going to go to controls and we're going to look for the if statement. Here it is, if. So here, if, and then we're going to go to sensing because it's sensing, the Pong is sensing the paddle. If, of course, we're in the Pong, right? In the Pong scripts. If it's touching the paddle, we're going to tell it what to do, which is back to motion. Turn. Well, if we leave it at 15 degrees, if we leave it at 15 degrees, right, it's going to, if I could just get it, right, it'll go like that. But we kind of want it to do 180 degrees because that's going to be a direct opposite of the other thing. So if we look at this, right, so if it's going this direction, 180 degrees is the exact opposite direction. So let's just do that. We're going to set this to 180. Okay. So now, right, it goes the exact opposite direction. Whoa. 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 So that's the basic in terms of of what we can do with the paddle, right? Um, Another thing that we can do, right, is maybe we want to make sure that we know that the paddle is actually getting hit. So we're going to do a similar method. In the paddle, right? Here's the paddle. And we're going to say, we're going to do the forever, right? Controls forever, because we want to have something that'll happen forever. And I want the paddle to change colors every time it's hit. So we go to if, we want to do an if statement, forever if, right? Forever if sensing. So if touching Pong, right? We want something to happen, and I want the paddle to actually change colors. So to do that, you can do costumes. I actually already set this up, but I'm going to erase it just so that you guys, we can do this together. So I'll delete it. I take the first costume and I can do a duplicate. So I duplicate it. Here's the second costume, right? I can right click it and do edit. Here, I can get this bucket, which is just a paint bucket, and I can pick a color. So I'm going to pick this red, and I go over the paddle that I created, click on it, and now it's red. Okay, great. I can also do right click, and I want to rename it to costume 2. Okay. So now we have costume 1, costume 2, costume 1, costume 2. Okay, so we're in scripts. And in this if statement, right? If, forever if it's touching the Pong, we want to switch it to the next costume. So we'll go to looks, next costume. So let's see what happens. Does this work? I think we got to press the green flag again. So it's starting at red, gets hit, turns black. Wow, whoa, turns red. Okay, great, we're doing great. We have our first iteration of the Pong game. Now it's stuck. So those are some little glitches, right? We're testing it out, seeing what the problems are. There's another couple things that maybe I might want to do, right? So maybe in terms of the Pong, I don't want it to do this 180 degrees. Let's just take a look at what it would look like if we turned it the other 180 degrees in the other direction. I honestly am not sure what's going to happen. So let's do this. You see how there's the turn that way. There's also a turn this way. We put this here, 180 degrees. Okay, let's press the green flag, start all over again. Whoa, it's pretty much the same thing. Another thing we could do, which will be kind of fun, instead of point in direction when we just start off, right? We're always going, see how it's always going in the same 315 degrees? If we were to change this, right, we could change it to like that. And if we press the green flag, it's always going to go in that direction, right? Okay. We can set this to random. This is truly amazing. So I believe it's in the operators. Yes, it is. And so we could pick a random number, point in direction from 1 to 360, right? 360, because so now every time it's a little bit random. And that gives the game a little bit more randomness. Whoa, oh man, I'm too slow. Whoa, I'm too slow. Not very good at this game. So guys, this is the basic of the Pong game. You can follow the instructions online to see if you can add some things to this Pong game. But this is Pong version 1. Thanks a lot. Talk to you later. Bye.